Emotions are constructed by us, by our brains, and by culture, a reality that's far more nuanced and complex than our standard depictions of them. This book will guide you through the true story of our emotions. The classical view also sees emotions as universal. It's assumed that emotions are hardwired and are automatically triggered in distinct regions of the brain. It's thought that there's a set of emotions that can be found across all humanity, and that each of these has an underlying property or essence. This concept is called essentialism. It assumes that each one of us is not only equally emotionally expressive, but also capable of automatically recognizing the same emotions in others. It's as if the brain were pre-wired with neurons for specific emotions. Once neurons are triggered, they produce physical responses. These characteristics are known as fingerprints, and it's through these that emotions are identified. Imagine you have an annoying colleague. He will trigger anger neurons, which will consequently cause your blood to boil and your mouth to form a scowl, or maybe a friend dies. In this case, sadness neurons send off signals which might start you crying. Experiments have shown that there is no single brain region dedicated to any specific emotion, or, in fact, to emotion alone. This also means that the fingerprint theory in the classical view doesn't work either. They found that each emotion region of the brain increased in activity during non-emotional thoughts and perceptions, too. So they showed that though there are expressive patterns to emotion within society, there is no single and obligatory response. In short, just because someone smiles, it doesn't mean she's necessarily happy. It might seem counterintuitive to imagine emotions as responses that are not natural, innate, or involuntarily triggered, but that's what the author advocates. She has no truck with the classical view and much prefers what's been called the theory of constructed emotion. This theory states that emotions are created spontaneously and concurrently in several areas in the brain. Each emotion, so the theory goes, is grounded in a given individual's experience. Every response is predicated on anticipated sensory inputs, whether it's for vision, hearing, or taste. The brain uses each input to either affirm or alter its predictions. You know how it is when you're driving a car. If you've driven a lot, your brain will make your body shift gears and engage the clutch without much thought. But what is it that allows you to act with such muscle memory? This autopilot system is called interoception. It's the way the brain keeps your body with its hormones, immune system, and nervous system running smoothly. It's managing an ongoing and predictive system so that you don't have to be conscious of what's going on at all times. Interoception is one of the core components involved in emotion creation. The brain's interoception system is continuously processing internal and external sensations. This raw data is repurposed as emotion by the process of interoception. Several parts of the brain operate in tandem to implement interoception. The author calls these areas the interoceptive network, and it contains two specific components. Firstly, there's the body budgeting region. This uses past experiences to gauge what the body requires, and then sends preemptive instructions through the body to control its internal environment. It might, for instance, tell your heart and respiratory system to speed up or issue instructions to metabolize more glucose because you're about to break your jogging record. Secondly, there's the primary interoceptive cortex. This component represents internal sensations, such as the pounding you feel when your heart beats, both the body budgeting regions and the primary interoceptive cortex form a feedback loop that helps regulate the body budget itself. Your body budget is responsible for controlling your body's resources such as glucose, cortisol, and heart rate. It's from the state of your body budget that your emotions are stimulated. How would you describe sadness? Curiously, in Tahitian there's no way to describe this emotion. Instead, Tahitians use a word meaning something like the kind of fatigue associated with the flu. What does this indicate? It shows that our reality is organized by the concepts we use for understanding our environment. In turn, these concepts depend on culture. Consider the frivolous yet illustrative muffin cupcake debate. What is the difference between the two baked goods? At heart, there's no chemical difference between them. They are both the same shape and made with essentially the same ingredients. You can even add similar things, like nuts or bananas, to them. The difference is cultural. One is eaten as dessert, the other at breakfast. This is an example of social reality, where objects are infused with meaning and function through social agreement. Sad, happy, angry, disappointed, depressed, these aren't universal emotions. They are, the author claims, concepts that we start learning from the moment we're born, from our parents and from society. Emotion concepts are taught, and often explicitly. Imagine a baby screaming. A parent might respond by asking it, "Are you angry that it's nap time?" Or "Are you sad that mommy is leaving for work?" The questions here inherently link crying to anger or sadness. And it doesn't stop at childhood either. That's because our brains retain the capacity to combine new experiences with previous ones, to learn new concepts and reshape old ones. This learning process isn't a bad thing. It means we become better at distinguishing between emotion concepts, which in turn means it's easier to regulate them. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and stay tuned for more book discussions.